Pat McAfee.
There's a lot of people saying they're not going to watch the Olympics.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people.
Because of the opening ceremony. Oh. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like, we need people that love sports being a part of sports happenings. We just want it to revolve around sport, and we can't have the opening ceremony be a reason why people won't watch these athletes who have sacrificed everything about their lives to be great at something.
He really had the nerve to invoke the sports must only take place line. Let's be real here. First off, I like McAfee, okay? I'm getting that out of the way. I like him. I think he's very good at what he does. When someone says something so blasphemous, no matter how much you may like them, you don't let it slide, you call it out. And that's what we're going to do. If we are honing in on keeping politics and sports separate, or sports being purely sports, per the ex-NFL player turn media host's words, maybe we should have a bit of consistency here, shouldn't we? McAfee let UFC president and diehard Trumpian Dana White, a man who committed DV against his wife, he gave him over 5 minutes of airtime to suck up, praise. There's so many other words that I want to say that I won't. That's what he did for Dana White. And Dana White brown-nosed Donald Trump all the way up there. But we weren't keeping sports, purely sports, on a sports show now, were we? Because there is a history here of McAfee having a do as I say, not as I do mantra. He was critical of the opening ceremony because, per the man himself, we just want it to revolve around sport. Okay. Where was this energy when you yourself, Pat, chimed in on the Caitlin Clark discourse by saying, nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white bee for the Indiana team who is a superstar. It wasn't about sports. It was about an off-putting comment. I, for one, was pleased when Venus Williams, Serena Williams, and actor Quinta Brunson, went after him on the ESPYs. It was needed, especially on his own platform. As did Basketball Hall of Famer and UConn women's basketball coach, the great Gino Auriemma, via the Dan Patrick Show. But since we're following McAfee on how it must always be about sports, where was this energy when he jumped in on a rumor, a dirty, inaccurate rumor, that Raiders chairman Mark Davis impregnated a 26-year-old woman? We would be talking about, Aiden O'Connell and Max Crosby, something within the field of play. But no, let's talk about a chairman's personal life. How about when your show's co-host, Boston Connor, mocked Keisei Tominaga about a ritualistic unaliving? Connor would say, quote, stabbed himself through the chest and the heart because he felt as though he brought a dishonor to himself, his family, and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Now that is just what I'm hearing at the rumor mill. I have not confirmed yet with the obituary whether or not he's actually dead. Keep it about sports. Okay. At one point, McAfee claimed he was canceled on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. He was called out by his own coworkers on ESPN, like SportsCenter anchor Michael Eaves, who has been fantastic going back to his days on the Clippers broadcast, Al Jazeera Sports, and the Four Letter Network. Then, you know where this is going. The lack of sports talk with recurring guest, New York Jets quarterback, former Packers quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. McAfee said nothing when Rodgers invoked Jimmy Kimmel's name, aligning with that guy, J.E., who rode on his own jet, the Lolita, and who appears to be besties with the former president. I haven't seen Rodgers, by the way, bring up any of this, only that he wants to link Kimmel to it. And he tried making some really terrible commentary on the matter. McAfee said nothing. He sat in silence as the Jets QB railed against vaccines and implored everyone to listen to Joe Rogan instead of those dedicating their lives in that respective field. he would go off about how hydroxychloroquine is great and how other ways of treating oneself would be better than listening to the experts. It's interesting. He said nothing, McAfee did, when Rodgers tossed out a grand idea of the former punter hosting a debate between conspiracy theorist presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who, by the way, was found to potentially be linked to asking for a job in the Trump White House, and Dr. Anthony Fauci, with the quarterback, of course, supporting the former, calling him a friend. There's also Rodgers' conspiratorial, the NFL knows who's winning the Super Bowl with Roman numeral and color symbolism. McAfee just laughed the entire time. Chinese spy balloons were mentioned by Aaron Rodgers and more, but of course McAfee wants us to focus on sports and only sports, just the sports, unless it comes with the caveat that they have on a conspiracy theorist like Aaron Rodgers who will boost their numbers. Then it's okay to talk about anything but sports. Hey, it's Aaron's hour. Let him air his grievances. Let him do what he does best. Whisper sweet nothings on a major sports outlet. McAfee would fire off an off-putting tweet mixing Michigan State football uniforms to sexual abuser and pedo Larry Nassar. That was also off-putting. He'd pull this shtick of no politics in sports before, only to trip over his own feet. In a tweet, he'd say, I'm rather certain that nobody's wanting to come hang out with us to hear us talk about politics. I think it's probably a massive reason for our success, actually. So all of this has been a good reminder of what we're good for and who we're good for. Yet he did all of these things and allowed all of these things to happen on his very show. So which one is it? All we're asking for is consistency here. And if you say something like this, to live by your own words. And if you go back on it, just own it. Say, hey, yeah, my bad. Or, yeah, we're going to be talking about this. Don't give off this portrayal that is a complete facade of saying we're only talking about sport ball and only sport ball, because you're not. Consistently, you're not. Joe brought up a good point in all of this. When a reactionary like McAfee says we and people, he is talking about a very specific demographic of weirdos. You can obviously tell where he's going. Via awful announcing, it's not surprising that McAfee would rather point to criticism from others regarding the content of the ceremony rather than issuing his own. A very fair point. It's also kind of a tell when someone is going to say, you know, people are asking, or some people have been saying, just say you. It's a lot easier to frame the question that way, or to even frame a dialogue that way on one show. Alex Kirshner would have more. There is not a single person in the world who was excited to watch fencing and then backed out because of the ceremony. Everyone who claims as much is lying. Sorry, completely agree. It's a very Riley Gaines way of looking at this. I'm offended. I'm triggered. I'm a snowflake because of what happened during the opening ceremony. You could have an opinion, but to say that no one is watching is blasphemous. You know why? The Olympics, opening ceremony saw their biggest audience since the year 2012. To say no one is watching is journalistic malpractice. It is simply one Google search away, one that Pat McAfee did not do. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.